Starting. Okay, now recording is starting. All right, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for taking time to participate in this seva. So today, what we're gonna look at is, like I think by now all of you are quite familiar with our Pure Bhakti based website, right? So so essentially we are loading books currently under three different categories. The English books, these are all Gurudev's books so far, but Guruji is talking about adding some more. I think we'll figure it out how it needs to be shown here. So far, we have loaded 98 English books and 27 of the Race of the Harmonist magazines. And today we will attempt to load 8 of the Tamil books, which I loaded yesterday. And for our today's exercise purpose, I deleted them. So if you have looked at the site, probably you may have noticed these books being loaded yesterday. But for our purpose, I just loaded. Today we're going to load it up collectively. So what is happening is when these books needs to be brought in, there is a lot of work that needs to happen in the background. So that is what I tried to load it like in the Google Sheet that you are able to access. Like if you look at the last tab, which called the book loader steps, and this is where predominantly 5 different steps happen before the books gets parsed, gets all the information required is collected, it added to the database, added to the app, and then finally shows up in the website. So I tried to group them under 5 different steps. And today we will be spending a lot of time on step 4. And that is where there is a lot of manual intervention, a lot of quality control, and a lot of validation that is currently happening. So earlier I was doing all of this in a, not very streamlined. I was doing just locally with, a lot of steps. But I did develop last week a couple of software components which can automate a lot of the book loading process. But still, there are certain steps that still needs to be done manually. So let me just walk down how things will happen. Number one, we need to collect the PDFs, right? Most of the time these will come either from Pure Bhakti website or Guruji may have it locally. And currently Navakishoriji and Guruji are currently correcting and making sure that the appropriate PDF version. Many a times we get mixed up. We are sometimes accidentally we are picking up the older versions. But this is a extremely important step. If we don't pick up the right PDF, and we're going to put in all the older versions. So we got to be careful. And this is where collectively as a group, I'm kind of assigning it to the content manager's responsibility. And you are all going to be the content managers. You know the content books, and you know what right versions these are need to be collected. And closely this step needs to be worked with Guruji and make sure that these are the correct. Guruji is very particular and we cannot do mistakes at this step. So typically these books are collected, either downloaded directly from the website or in some like Tamil in this case, and we have them locally. So these PDFs needs to be collected and these need to be uploaded to the GBNAS. So under GBNAS, and we have a particular location, I will share in the chat also. I think we are putting them under the software projects under the GBNAS. And that is the master copy of all the PDFs that we're going to be loading. So once that is done, then the development team, I think this is where Vrajadevi Dasi, Krishna Priya Dasi, and myself, we will come into picture here. And this is where the developers, the software developers will pick up those PDFs and a structure will be created locally. This is not for content managers. They don't need to worry about this step, but I'm just showing what really happens under the hood, right? So let me show the directory structure of, how these like what does the initialization means, right? So the key folder for us is this PBB book loader, under which you will find various folders. But it's simply all it comes down to, kind of going to the PBB books and adding all the PDFs that need to be uploaded. So today we'll be dealing with 8 PDFs, and those will be part of the books. So along with the PDFs, we also need some of the other artifacts also. One of them very crucially is the thumbnails. So these are the images. Typically, they are available on the Pure Bhakti website. When we go to the page PDF details, they'll show a small snippet of an image. So these are the images that in our website will show up under the collection. So we got to be careful that, does the thumbnail really match with the exact book? And also we need to make sure that these dimensions are matching with so that it appears properly. They're not stretched out and few things, but it's very easy step. Even developers can do it. But it's a shared responsibility. Either the content managers can do it or developers can do, as long as we know where it is. If the images are not available, I think that's where we need to take Guruji's approval and kind of come up with these things. But for today's exercise, Guruji made it so simple for all of us. He actually created all of these thumbnails already. So I think they are ready to roll. So those are the only two inputs, and rest of them are kind of output folders. One of the crucial ones, I'm just giving for a background so that you all aware that what really happens under the hood is when we run the process, that the PBB software, what it does is it takes each book, and right now it's empty. I will show you when it is populated. What it does is for each book, it will create a separate folder, and each page it extracts as an image. And I think after we run the process, you can see that. And the other folder is currently I have it because Guruji provided a lot of this good information. He even painstakingly went and created separate files for the title and the book summary, right? So it's already there, right? He already written it. So all we have to do is copy and paste today. So today our exercise is going to be so simple, but in reality, when I was loading English books there, because these pieces of information is not really available for us. But Guruji made it simple for us. So today, I think it will go like a breeze. It's very easy to load up these books. So that is
Prabhuji,
the,
one question. So where did
yes,
you
ma'am.
get that information from?
Which information one you're talking about, Komal? Like the text files?
Yes, the HTML files that you just now showed.
Oh, that is Guruji actually made it for our Tamil books.
But in future, how are we supposed to? Are we
So,
supposed to get
okay,
those
so
20?
that's a very good question, right? So what I'm thinking is, so most of the times, like under Pure Bhakti website, it is available, right?
Oh, I think the one that content we had got it last time. The
Yeah,
post
yeah,
you
yeah.
just made.
You
Okay,
entered into
okay.
the Google Sheet, right? I
Correct,
think
correct,
that's
correct.
why I was requesting your help.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like for the others, like who are not familiar with that, if we are loading from the Pure Bhakti website, so under resources and ebooks and PDFs in format, this is for others, and that's exactly right. So I kind of started a Google Sheet to collect all that information. So basically, we're gonna get it from the this website, basically, right? So is it the personal library? Yeah, things keep changing every day. Oh no, sorry, PDF format. Oh, the GVP books. So here, like this website it has a lot of information, but I think we got to navigate multiple times to get there. So this is where. So this image, if you save as, you will get the thumbnail here. And this is the book summary that you are seeing in the text file. And because Tamil books are new and we don't have this information, that's why Guruji made it for us. And in future, it's a possibility that we might be making books which are not there in the pure bhakti base, and that's where I think we need to kind of work with Guruji and make up these short summaries and take his approval before we're going to load it up. I think that could be a manual process the way I see it. But if we're going to load it up from the pure bhakti website, I think we can just need to copy and paste, and so that we can load it up directly. Okay, but that's a great question. So like that's what happens, right? So now that's the step two. So the developer, whoever is running, it's one of or three of us between Krishna Priyadasi or Rosie Devidasi and myself. We will set it up locally and we will run it. And that is what the developer role. So now what happens is ideally this Google Sheet is the entire driver for loading this one. But there is a lot of information that needs to be collected, which goes into the pure Bhakti based database. And what I did was to create separate sheets. So like even though the title names and all looking slightly differently, but I'm assuming that those should be self-explanatory, and I will let you know what of these columns mean really. But at a basic level, we are trying to load 5 different tabs of information. The book means the really the basic information of the PDF name, like whatever we downloaded, the PDF name has to be like exactly. We cannot rename, we cannot change it, and that's how it's gonna go into the database. Don't worry about the book ID. Book ID is something our internally our database is assigned. Don't worry about it, but it is used for tracking purposes of each book. So, and then the book type, I think this is going to be very important category. I think we introduced very recently. Earlier, it was not there. So right now we are having 3 categories of the book type. And the 3 types are exactly what we are showing here. English books means the category is going to be English, and Tamil books means Tamil, and race of the harmonist is going to be race. I think that is what we need to put in, depending on which tab we're going to add up. And in future, there might be newer groups, and that way we will make it up. Currently, it's going to be one of the 3: Tamil, English, or race. And then we have to enter the original book title. So right now what we are following is, if you're going to load it from the website, and the top whatever is showing here, the one here in the link, in this amber color, I think that is the actual title we are using, so that we are consistent. We're not trying to change anything, and we just need to copy and paste, and that's what we'll get into the book title. Edition information is optional. We don't need to do it. But if you want to highlight something like, for especially for magazines, these are important. Even for books also, some of the latest editions, I think version 4, version 5, if you need to add anything, either a year information or a version information, we can just add it here. Column F is going to be the original author. I think 95% of the cases, it's going to be Gurudev. But in 1 or 2 cases where we have Veda Vyasa and other acharyas are there, and it's going to be, and in cases where the original author is not Gurudev, the commentary author is going to be Gurudev. Now, how he, most of the time, these are the 2 things that are needed. So, and let me come back to the header height and footer height. I think this is slightly complicated, but I'll come to that, why we need it. It's needed for software, for not for any other purpose. And the book summary is the text that I'm showing here. So the exact text from here, we're going to copy, and we need to add it to this Google Sheet so that we can load it up. So now let me go back and talk about what are these header height and footer height, right? So let me show you one of the PDFs. So like this is one of the older PDFs. Those 2 things needs to be manually captured. The reason they are needed is currently we can work without them, but in future, when we start extracting each page content, so like when we want to implement the search and the AI chat, the focus should be on what the text that is part of the main body of the page. But most of the books have all these fancy headers and footers, and even the book name or the chapter names, and even at the bottom, like there is a page number. What happens is, if you try to extract everything from a page, our content get mixed up, right? All the things will get into the searches, and our content won't be clean. So in order for the software to figure out exactly the content starting where the header is, I think that is where we are requiring that, hey, let's capture that. I attempted to do it using with software, but the books are so many different kinds. It's getting so hard for us to, even, see that, how we going to get this number, right? What is the header height and footer height? So, but for you as content manager, if you think that, what I'm trying to explain is too complex, don't worry about it. But I'm just teaching in case, what this number is going to be. Now it comes down to how do you measure that number, right? So I think literally you have to, measure with a thing. In order to do that, you need the Adobe Reader. It's free. I think most of you should have on your laptops, Adobe Reader. So in the Adobe Reader, how do you get to that is you go to the view menu and in which you need to show the rulers and grids. I think that's an option in this one. You select the ruler and then it gives a scale, right? And it's given in inches here. So, this is where it gets a little tricky and complex also. So, what is truly needed is you literally have to measure this number, right? This is 1, this is 0.5. So, literally, right now, this scale, in order to pick up anything between this below this dotted line, I think what we are showing up is 0.75 of an inch. But sometimes the gap between the header and the actual text is very thin, and you got to be very precise there. And if you do it, if you lean into the body, then your searches will not pick up the top line. On the other hand, if you are not careful to include these dotted lines and the headers, it will pick up from the header also. So I think that's where little precision is needed. And that is what the number, and that is measured here, 0.75. And what gets entered is 0.75. There is a formula, 0.75 times 72. I know that I'm making it way too complex than what is necessary, but so the way software works is it works on a different pixel scale versus inches scale. That's why the 72 conversion is coming. But for you, even if you can just copy and paste into this, even in inches, we can handle it on the software side very easily. You don't need to worry about. So basically, what we are asking is if the header is there, and just give it in inches, 0.75 in this particular case, if you're going to load that book. And similarly, we got to measure the footer, so the fed footer, so that, we can avoid, we don't need to, this is blocking, okay. So we don't need to worry about the footer number, so here from inches perspective, it is showing that it is 8.25 inches, right? So it's just the measure. Those are the two numbers. What the software uses is when it tries to extract, it will eliminate, it won't read from that part of the book. For some books, there are no headers or there are no footers. It's not consistent. If you don't find a header across the pages, then you can just put as 0. So I think that's the significance of the numbers. These are optional at this point. For our existing version of the software, these won't make an impact because we're using images, but this is more like a future. So I think I went nonstop for a little bit. Let me take a pause and see that, especially collecting the book information, is it making sense, or do you have any questions, or is it getting too confusing?
I have a question, Prabhuji. So
Please.
the header that you're showing, so from where to where I have to measure? I didn't get that.
Okay. So that's a very good question. Okay, so let me go there, right? So when you enable the readers, you got that part, right? How to show the rulers.
Uh-huh.
So the ruler always starts from 0.
Hmm.
So every PDF you open the ruler. The top of the page is always 0. So what you have to come is from top, if the number here is, for example, in this case, this is 1, this is 0.5, and this is 0.75. So the number is between somewhere 0.5. So this is, I'm thinking it's 0.6 is the correct number here. So you're measuring from top.
Okay.
The
Got it.
footer also the same measure, but you go all the way to the bottom, right? So here it is 8 inches, and it is 8.5 inches here. I think that's probably is the right one, 8.5. So you'll just enter 0.6 and 8.5 in the footer length for this book.
Okay.
You measure from top. That's it.
Thank
That
you.
is from the top of the letter, the Acharya, top of the letter, it starts from there?
No, top of the book, top of the page.
Start from top of the book and ends at the top of the Acharya.
Yeah, each page, I'm showing the full page, right? Typically, the page is this one, right? Now you will get an idea. So the top of the page of whichever the page you open a PDF, right? The top of the page is always 0, right? The bottom of the page is always the bottom edge of it. So what we are trying to capture is from 0 all the way up to where this line is ending, along with the dotted line, so that we don't need to capture that. The same thing with the footer also. The 9 is the bottom of the page, but 8.5 is where your content, this line is ending. So we don't want to pick these page numbers into our search engines. That's why we are trying to eliminate that part when we run the software. And that's why this number is important. This 8.5 number is important.
Even the end
Yes.
notes we will not be picking up.
Most of the times, the footer end notes we would like to. I just like most of the time they don't put into the number. I think this is where it gets tricky. You're right. In some books, they're not consistent. If they do it, I think then we have to do a manual case of where, should we, like, we have to see how many footnotes are there. And if there are only handful of footnotes across most of the time, there are too few. We may have to copy manually, and we just pick up, even though end notes are there, we're still gonna not pick up in the automated extraction, then add it manually. We always have the ability to add the text manually. That's not a problem. We go to the database and just update. But, so in some books, but so far I've seen that the footnotes are above this line of 6. They're not coming into the 6 at all. But, we cannot control that, how they make the books. I think that is where we need to kind of look into the PDF and see that, if the footnotes are spilling into this one.
So basically, the size from the last line to the end of the page.
Size from top of the page, from
No,
0.
Footer.
Footer also, you measure from top only.
From top to bottom. Okay.
Top to, not to the end to the bottom, but just above the line of 6.
Okay, yeah.
That's just above the line 6 means, you mean the lower part of the text, Sri Krishna, the lower part of the text, from there the footer starts.
Correct. Ideally, like if you can find a space in between, right? That's why I'm thinking 8.5, actually the line, maybe let me bring it closer so that, if you bring it to the closer, right? You will see here, right? So earlier I was expanding. See now this 8.5 line goes below the Sri Krishna Parabrahma, that line, and it still goes above line 6. So we want to pick a space in between those two. And also, I want you to be careful also. Sample few pages before you come to that number. Don't assume that all the pages, the number 6 is appearing. And that's where most of the pages books do, but you cannot. I think you have to sample a couple of pages and then make sure that, it's consistent. In this case, let's pick few more, like, let's say that. Is still the 8.5 still good? I think seems like it is good. Let's see that if anything else, like let's go. I think this is looking closer. Now there is an image. I think it is still good, right? So I think you just have to like have that keen eye for so I think this is exactly, I think now Kishoriji, I think you are telling, right? So there is a footnote here, but typically they put it above this line. They don't bring it down, but it depends on the book author.
Yes, I get that. Sometimes it is, I didn't pay that much of attention, but probably we'll check as we go, if it is there like that.
Yeah, so I think this is where, sometimes it's not like, what I'm saying are the golden rules. Like these are more like guidance. At the end of the day, how many rules you make, some of the books don't follow any rules at all, right? So they're all over the place, so see, that is where I'm hoping that, some of you can pick, like, I'm not like, I'm a software guy, right? I don't know about books, right? So far I'm doing, many a times I try to do these kind of things. I don't have that keen sense of what is the real thing, right? So that's where I'm hoping people who are familiar with the books, they can make this kind of information, it's a judgment call. And sometimes if you see that, hey, there is no way that, the footer is all over the place. it's just impossible, then we can have a discussion on that book and say that, okay, let's not book any header footer, let's pick up everything, and then let's find a way to eliminate the headers footers. And we may have to do some manual cleanup. In some cases it may be required, or in some cases the text extraction for some of the books probably is not even feasible, right? So I can show you one of the books right now. If you go to the English books, one of the most complex books I struggle with is what is this one? This one, Guruvani Pracharani, right? Look at this one. It's not standard dimension, right? So it has so much of image content, the text is hardly can be readable, right? They loaded up with so much of these things, and you see a lot of imagery, right? So a lot of things are buried, and you can't even figure out where is this header and where is footer, right? It's just impossible to deal with these kind of books to extract, so like even the table of contents, right? It's so good for reading purpose because they made so much of imagery work. But for software extraction, this is the most challenging part. Like, how do you even extract a table of contents from this, right? So you don't know, right? It's all mixed up. So we will be dealing with a lot of books of this kind. And some books have a different layout. They don't even have a page by page layout. They have 2-page layouts by default. You can't even adjust it in the Adobe Reader. And I had to, kind of cut the books in half and reassemble them. I had to do a lot of these things. So we're going to have those edge cases. But today what we are discussing is predominantly the major cases, and there will always be exceptions. Okay. So no, but this is a great discussion. I'm really glad that you're kind of getting into kind of putting yourself to see that, how do I do this, right? I think that is going to be the most important piece.
I think the best option would be like once when we have started doing it, and if we come across any edge case, we can put it in the group chat so that everybody else can also look into it, like if they find something similar, and it will help, and we can also discuss it in the chat itself, like how do we want to proceed, and gives an answer to everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so the other thing I would also say that, so like supposing we did a mistake and, we loaded something we should not be, it's the deleting a book and restarting this process is extremely easy. Now, the deletion is totally automated. If I just go and run one command, the book just disappears from the website. And we can start this process with corrected steps, right? So don't worry that, oh, some mistake has happened in the Google. Don't even worry about it. But Komalji, like what you're saying makes sense, right? I think we need to kind of learn from each other when we started doing collect. I'm sure we will find ton load of edge cases, case by case, I think. But, collectively, we understand what needs to be done, what needs to be added to the Google Sheet. That will be helpful. And at some point, you might even come back and say that, let's change the Google Sheet itself so that we can capture this information in a different way. Absolutely, we can do that. If you find certain things that, oh, let me add more columns, or, this is how a column needs to be captured, we can also do that. Not a problem. Okay, great. So I think that is about the book information. This is all what we call the book information. So everything what you collect here, it really appears on our homepage, and also homepage, and also in the view details. So the book summary we captured in the Google Sheet, right? This goes here, and the title goes here. The author information goes here. The PDF itself, what we captured, like I showed you, right? Downloaded from GBNAS, it is still available to be downloaded. Right, so all these pieces we are collecting, they are getting in there, and this is the thumbnail, right? Every piece we are collecting, it's getting into the website at some location, right? So I think that tab really maps to this list plus the view details. Now let's go to the second tab, right? What it means is this is where we are doing a page number to the page label. So this list, like for example, if you pick a book and it has 400 pages, so it will have 400 records for that particular book. What we are primarily mapping is, so I can show you in this one. I think this is an extremely important as we navigate to do the correct mapping between the page label and the page map, the page number. The difference appears here, right? So like Like if you, in the Adobe Reader, if you go there and if you look at the page number where it shows, if you hover over and go there, now you are seeing three numbers there: 46, 64, and 440. These numbers are very important for us because the 46 is the one, what is the page label that is printed on the page. 64 is the one what traditionally the books from starting from 1 they go all the way to the end, and 440 is the number of pages in a book. These three numbers are extremely important for us when we navigate into table of contents, when we do a next page, when we save the bookmarks, the entire accuracy of that process. Last time or also, I think Komalji and Navkishoriji, I think when you are testing, you found a lot of things, right? When you're clicking, it's not going to the right place. And sometimes it is throwing some weird errors. That is because these mappings were not correct. So that's why I had to go and manually fix a lot of it. But upfront, even loading itself, we make a quality control and make sure that these mappings are accurate. Then we won't have those errors at all. And also we got to be careful with the page labels is in some cases, these labels are all kind of things, right? Some of them are, they are Roman numbers. Some of them are, ABC type, like, here you see that, these are the Roman numbers here. So we got to capture whatever is the actual page label and the page number. And this is where we will also very frequently get into a situation wherein some of the books, what is printed on the page and what the PDF shows as the page label, they're not the same. There are mistakes. So that's how they made the PDF. We cannot do anything. But in those cases, what we have to rely on is the thing that is printed on the page. Because ultimately, when people look up and they want to bookmark, the users are only seeing this number. So we have to make sure that whatever is printed on, that is correctly captured as the page label. I think that is the most important part. For the most part, this is automated. The software can pre-populate and you don't need to know, but you just need to open the PDF and put the Google Sheet. Once we run the software, all this gets populated. You just need to make sure that sample them, right? Pick up some pages for a book and make sure that page number and page label are correctly mapped. For some books, and especially the way Guruji made all the Tamil books, he made for everything page label and page number is the same. So it makes our life so, so simple. Like we don't have to worry about this one. It's the same number. But all the older books, they're different. I think that is where we need to do the quality control. And the next one is the table of contents. I think this is also another critical component. And this is where all kinds of things will come into play here. Some of the books, so here the table of contents are the ones we are extracting from exactly like, what is showing here, right? So these are the components we are extracting. So for every table of content, what you will see is like, the challenges where it will come from is it's the label that you're going to extract, and the number that is listed is the page label. It is not the page number. We got to be careful, right? And then we have to go to the page maps and get the correct page number, and that's the software does. All you have to make sure is when these numbers are captured, the correct level of the label is captured as the TOC label. The text here, preaching Suddha Bhakti, that will go into the TOC label. Page label for that particular number is going to be 103. And you don't need to worry about page number. I just have it for my processing. You just need to make sure that the TOC label and the page labels are correctly captured. And the TOC level is another interesting thing. This is where the grouping of the things, and you would need to expand in some cases, like where the chapter, right? You see a chapter under which you have a child level and you will see sub-child level, and all those things needs to be captured. And for the most part, the software is able to pick up, but given the variations, I think this is where we really have to thoroughly check that, is it at the right level, right? Otherwise, if it is not at the right level, all of them will appear in a, like a clutter, or all of them will get buried under a, different groups. And in some cases, the sequencing also can get messed up. So I think this is where lot of things you have to see. For example, here in this book, right, the part 3 is the level 1 TOC level. The column C, it will have part 3, the acharyas and mission will go as TOC level 1, and under which the general superintendent of Gaudiya Mata and the mission, that will go as level 2. And here, like it is even going up to level 3 here. Here, so Sri Uddharana Gaudiya Mata, like, this one is actually level. It's just tabbed. So you just need to figure out and make sure that what is a level 3 item, what is a level 2, or is it just a length which got extended. Like, if I run the software, it treats sometimes the length of the, like, in both cases, this is the same, but in some cases, the software is not able to figure out if it is because of the length of this label is more and it's split into 2 lines, or is it really at a different level? It is not able to pick it up. I think that's where we need to do a manual check and make sure that the correct TOC levels are picked up. Any questions? I think this is going to be another important component for the table of content extraction.
Can you repeat that, Prabhuji, one more time?
The last part?
Yeah, the table of contents. Like, as you said, the part 3 is one table of content. The second level is all these things, right?
Correct.
But beginning when you see like this one, like Shri Maha Mantra and Kirtana, that's another table of content.
Correct.
The first
each line will be a row in the Google Sheet.
Okay.
Right? Every line will become a table here. You will see when we run the software, you will see that. That will be auto-populated for you. You don't need to really do that. Software will, like when we run the software, you will see that the Google Sheet is pre-populated. But every item here will be a new row here in the Google Sheet. But how do we group them together is we use this column C, the TOC level, to figure it out. For example, right, so if part 3, the Acharya and mission is suppose at line 6. And at line 7, you will find the general superintendent of Gaudiya Mata and mission, right? You will see that. But what the software is not always good at is, hey, actually the general superintendent of the Gaudiya Mata and mission is a child element of the part 3. They are related. And we make that assertion using the TOC level, and we assign level 1 to part 3, but we assign under all these items level 2s. And in some cases, some of these things may even have child levels below, one more level going down. You keep on expanding, like, so like how they appear is like, for example, let's go to the Acharya Kesari, right? So what you are seeing immediately are only the level 1 TOC items, what you are putting in the column C. Now, you need to expand to see the level 2 items. Are you following?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So how this level 1 and how this grouping, how this collapsing working is the way you put TOC level. If you put everything TOC 1, like for example, if I go and change that book, everything to in column C, I put 1 only, all these things will not show as collapsed. Everything will show at one level. Even the Bhagavata Guru Parampara will appear at the same level as part 1. And that's why we are grouping level 1, level 2, level 3. And, so I think the software is good enough to do an association between these two. Actually, this belongs to this one. It will do that. But all we have to make sure is each item is at the right TOC level. So that, you want to show it as. Yeah, go ahead.
So for example, like the way that you did and the book that you have shown me, like initially, as we can go back to that book, what you were giving the example. So like this one, so all these ones like Sri Maha Mantra, that second one, third one, that all goes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or TOC level 1, 2, like, on the Google Sheet.
No, that's great, right? And let's walk from the top, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is the table of content for the same book. We are seeing like this is from PBB and this is the actual PDF, right? So, okay, let's go from top, right? Introduction to translated Hindi item. It's an item by itself. There is not anything underneath. And that is where as content manager, you need to decide that, hey, like what is really part of the part one here? Here it is very clear. They have given a separate font. And by looking at, you would know that, Bhagavata Guru Parampara, appearance, childhood, student life, they're all part of the part one, right? Because you can visually tell that, hey, part one has all these things grouped together. But how does the software know? So what would happen is in software, you would when we load up, there is no TOC level. It will bring all of them into separate rows. Like then what we start doing is for introduction, we will assign in column C, we will assign level 1. And then we go to the next one, part 1. Part 1 is also at level 1. Now the third row, Bhagavad Guru Parampara, now we will change it to level 2 so that it comes under the previous one. That's why this collapse thing, it is happening because we assigned all these 4 items at level 2.
Prabhuji, do you have a sample template that you can share so that it will be easier for everybody to understand how?
No, it will be. So actually, when we run it, you will see how it works. Like actually, we're going to run it. It will get pre-populated, some of them. But for Tamil books, Guruji made it so clean. There are no errors. It loaded, even without manual intervention, everything can get loaded. But usually for English books, the pure Bhakti books is not the case. There are so many errors. But, but I will show you. I will definitely show you. Okay. So I think let's hold on to that levels. I think it could be a little confusing. But let's start the process, right? So right now, please open all of you in your Google Sheets and keep tracking what happens, right? I want all of you to be in the Google Sheet so that you can see yourself what happens when we run the software. Let me know once you're all in. I see somebody in.
I'm in.
Okay. Yeah, I see 2 people in, right? Okay, so now let me run the software here. So the software, what it does is it will, so don't worry about all these things are confusing. It's all developer and Rajadevi Dasi, she would understand. The reason I'm showing so that she also can understand what happens. So in this one, I have 2 software processes, one called part 1 and part 2. What part 1 does is actually the step here. So the pre-populate, that's a step 3. When I run that software, it is really step 3, right? So let me go there. Yeah, so let me go there and run this one. Once I run, you will see now that your Google Sheet will get updated. This process will update the Google Sheet. So let's see that. Now it is running. Now it is picking the PDFs. Now it is processing the things. Now, if you go and refresh your Google Sheet, you will see a lot of information is getting populated. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So
even
now,
without refreshing.
yeah,
Yes, sure.
So all of you, like this is the information that software is able to extract. But again, since Guruji made it, it's very clean. And that's why I was thinking that I was telling Guruji also, Guruji, what you give is not a good example for us. You make it so simple and so clean. It always works, but other cases not. But again, for you to understand, like this is where I think we need to kind of show, like walk me through, right? So that process, let me see that if the process is complete or not, so that we can come back to this one. Okay, so I think it ran successfully, no errors, everything done well. So what it does is actually, so in the book loader, right, along with populating the Google Sheet, it also, the step 1 process, it also creates each page into an image. But again, you don't need to worry about it. I'm just showing you. So now let's go back to the Google Sheet. I think this is where everything needs to come together, right? So now I think you all can make changes here right now. So so for example, so I want like someone to type in Srila Gurudeva name here, and so that anyone, just for testing purpose. You all have edit access, all of you. You can start making changes. So here, what we need to do is, I'm pre-populating the book title as the PDF name, but most of the cases it's not. No, it's different. And that is what Guruji already gave for us. Yeah, I think someone already typed in, right? Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, right? So I think that's already there. So what I did was, for today's purpose, yeah, you can put test, but again, the test will go into the website. So to make it clean, so what I have done is, like, usually this won't be available, but what actually I did was, all the text notes that Guruji gave, I already extracted just for our things to, I copied and put here. And I also measured, since Guruji made them, he made all of them consistent, and none of them have headers, and the footers is like, 8.6, which I converted to, into this thing. So then, like, everything is already there, and all we're gonna be loading is Tamil books. So, like, without manually entering, what I can do is simply, let me copy only these pieces and paste into the Google Sheet, right? So let me copy, paste. But in a real world, you would do these manual edits. So, like, sorry, I think whoever put, I think that got, oh, that did not get overwritten. Oh, that stayed. Oh, that's good. Okay. So maybe let's make it consistent. Control C. Whoever typed in, I'm overwriting whatever you put, right?
Yeah, that was me.
I
Sorry.
think I did something.
No, that's fine. Like, it's okay. No worries, right? I think this is what we're going to learn. But, what I copied and pasted is just to show quickness. Otherwise, this is where you will take your time and you will, go through each of the titles, authors. And this one question I need to ask. Now, Kushariji, like, by chance, do you know if Guruji want to show his name as for Tamil books because he's the translator? I don't know. Like, should we add his name?
Yeah, I think we should. But I don't know whether Guruji wants. Yeah, I think we
yeah,
should.
like, if you go ahead and type his name and the way it needs to be, it will appear, right? You can do that now.
Okay.
if you want to do that,
yeah,
please do so then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I not seeing them?
Yeah, somehow it got erased. I don't know what happened.
It's shown and then gone.
Okay, like, can you refresh and do that one more time? I think because I copy and pasted, probably those may not have.
Okay.
Sometimes Google Sheets acts weird.
Yeah. I'm
reload
doing it again.
Yeah, reload and type again. Is there a save option? They don't even give a save option. Oh, now I see.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Kanta Dasa. Okay. Okay, then you want to put all of them for.
Yeah.
Just copy paste.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah. So the reason I picked up Google Sheet than Excel is Google Sheet is the only one which is keeping the transliterated Sanskrit. For Tamil, it's not a problem. For English books, Excel is messing up the fonts. And also, it's easy to online. We all can work like this, right? We can collaborate. In a single sheet, multiple people can go easily and make updates.
And it avoids redundant work, because if I don't know what's going on, somebody else is working on, we would just be doing the same thing again and again.
Exactly. And that's why, that's why I kind of integrated my software with this one. So because the auto population takes a lot of pain out. Earlier, I was manually compiling all these things initially, since I haven't written. I think with the software, what I ran right now, I think it is okay. So usually that's what you do, right? You will give the book type here. All the 8 books are Tamil books, title, and don't worry about these borders and all. I think they won't get in. Whether you put borders or don't even worry about. But just make sure that we're not truncating anything and everything is collected correctly, right? I think this is great. Now let's go to the page map. So in this particular case, there is nothing for you really to do because the way Guruji made all books is page label and the page number both are same. So I think let's, why don't we validate that, so I'll show you. PBB books, right? So let me poke my Shiksha Guru. So here you're seeing, right? So see, number 2 is number 2. Like if both are same, when you hover over this number 2, you won't even see that the third number, unless there are different labels. You don't see. If you're not seeing, that means the number and the label is always the same, right? So like if it is 18, you're going to see 18, only 18. There's nothing else. But their books are not like that. They have different sections. They start with Roman letters, and sometimes they start with ABCs, and they're all over the place. But in today's case, there is not much really for us to do any page map validation, because it's the same thing, right? So that is going into PDF. Okay, I got it. Yeah. So now let's go to the table of contents, right? So I think this is going to be very important. So let's pick the book, which is Butter Thief, so that I think we can understand. Okay. So now let's go to the Butter Thief, right? So then that will clarify what the levels are, right? So. Oh, so here. So the thing is, I think probably except Umadevi, I think none of us can really read this one. So this is all like, I'm just matching based on the, like some Greek and Latin, right? I have no clue what this text means, right? So, but what we can see is, what we can assume is, probably the top line is saying that this is the table of contents in Tamil. I don't know what it is. And there is a, oh, sorry. Here, right? So here where the levels 1 and 2 come here is, here the
that is
second.
chapter 1. Adhyayam 1 means chapter 1.
This is chapter? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you are here so that you can read it for us. So what is that, the second line, number 9? What does that read? This one.
It says, Shri Krishnarin Adbhuta Leelaகளை Kepum.
Okay. So I think now to show it for to
It's
your
like
earlier.
within bracket it comes, I think, in under chapter 1, within bracket, I think it comes that Shri Krishnarin Adbhuta. Looks like that.
Correct. So for us, what we are looking at is everything, like, this is a tab, right? So what we need to do is, this is the first line. And now let's see how it loaded into, so here, the Butter Thief, right? So let's focus on Butter Thief only. So this is where the Butter Thief. So you see that the top line, or let me bring it. And this is how you need to test it, right? So make sure that you keep the Google Sheet and you keep the PDF next to it. And that's how you need to compare. That's where it kind of helps to see that. So in this one, okay, let me also explain. Okay. So now here you're seeing this top line. This is it's an independent level. There are no child elements under. So this is going to be level 1. This is the TOC level 1. The second line, this is also level 1. The third one, the highlighted text, and that is also level 1. But here you see this one, the fourth line, right? Which is a child element of the parent above. So that goes as level 2. Is it becoming clear to you? So when we load up, what we will see immediately are only the level 1 items. So we don't see this one immediately unless you go there and expand this one to see the children element of that. Confusing, or any questions? Or
yeah, able to get it, Prabhuji. I think just reading like a level 1, level 2 kind of, yeah, able to get it.
It's like a tree-like structure. Basically, it's a tree. Like, what we are trying to build is a tree, right? What is the parent element? And sometimes the book goes up to 4 or 5 levels deep. Bhagavad Gita and few others, they have deep, way too many levels. So that means sometimes the level 2 item can also become a parent by itself. It might have level 3 as the children, and a level 3s might have a level 4 as children. So it goes like a tree, like goes from top to bottom. So that is where what you will see here. And once you populate these ones, the things that you need to really make sure is, hey, based on this one, but software made this assertion, right? And is it correct or not? I don't know. Sometimes it can do mistakes. Now, the way software is assigning these levels is based on the tab level, right? Oh, all the lines starting at this position, maybe it is level 1. The starting tab view, maybe it's level 2, right? Those are the software assumptions which may or may not be correct in the real world. And that is what we need to come and check. Make sure that the level 1, 2, 3s are correctly appearing, number one. Number two is that label itself is extracted currently. In English case, there are no transliteration errors. And many a times, I think last time you also found a lot of transliteration errors. When this text gets extracted, you will get errors. And the third one is what you need to make sure is for each item, the number, page number, what is listed here is it getting picked up, right? So the top level is 5. The second one is 9. Third one is 9. And here, this is 15, right? So you need to do some random checkings to make sure that all the 3 elements are captured 3. That is about it. There is nothing more or nothing less to it. Because that's the one which drives our reader, right? So I think that is what I think once you start doing 1 or 2 books, you will get it. But I think that is why your main focus is going to be on columns C, D, and E. C for the correct TOC level, D for the correct transliteration, and there is no truncation. In some cases, the label goes across 3-4 lines because the line is too long. In that case, make sure that they are captured appropriately, the entire label. And finally, the correct page label. Be careful. This is the page label. This is not the page number. In this case, it's the same for this book, but for some books, it's not the same. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it. The other 2 tabs, they are there. They are more for advanced processing, but none of these books they don't have the glossaries or the verse indexes. So we don't need to deal with it. But, if the books are going to contain, it will do the same process. So the software will manually extract and give it, and which potentially could have incorrect mappings and all some incorrect characters coming in, transliteration errors. I think those are the things we need to be able to validate if the book is going to have it. But in this case, these are not applicable, and that's about it. So if you're all good with this process, and then that completes, once you all do this one, and you will let the development team know that, hey, we are all done, all the updates are made. And that's when we'll come back and run our part 2 of the software. So before I do that, any questions on these manual edits required for these 3 tabs? Book, page map, or the table of contents?
Yeah, I think as you said, we need to do it, then only we'll have questions. I mean, it's all like clubbing together, kind of like not sure if we would be doing right. But one question, Prabhuji, like, for example, like this one, I cannot read, obviously, Tamil. But the second thing is about, do you think you can do one of the race of the harmonist so that it would be an example for us to see how we are doing for what you want us to do?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. Yeah, I think race of the harmonist. So that means I have to delete the existing ones and reload them, right?
Then if that is okay with you, otherwise, like, maybe we can, because just a reading and then getting that concept is kind of like getting a little difficult for me.
It's a little difficult, right?
So like, why don't I do this one? Instead of deleting them, you can do this. Do you see the little version history next to like all of the viewers? You can go there and potentially go to a spot for before you loaded in Raise of the Harmonist, so you can kind of go through step through it rather than have to redo the whole thing.
No, but my challenge is like not the challenge, but I made this Google Sheet process and the integration just now. When I loaded Race of,
Gotcha. Okay.
I did it manually, so I don't have any history. That's why I was thinking that, oh, I need to set up a little bit. So why don't I
Gotcha.
do this one? So I will, like, I think we don't need to meet as a team. What I will do is I will delete, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow sometime. I'll delete and I will let you know. And, I will let you go there and kind of, try to load it up. But what I will tell you is the race of the harmonist books, they are so complicated. The manual extraction of the table of contents didn't even work. So I will tell you, like, so the PDF files, right? So race of the harmonist. So these are all the.
Which was the easiest book that you felt, and that is something that could be done?
Tamil books. That's what I'm
no,
showing.
Not only Tamil. No, because
English books.
Yeah,
or maybe
Butter
Butter Thief, the English one, like
yeah,
the Butter
maybe
Thief.
just take a recording of Butter Thief, because if that's the simplest one, just do it, so then everybody can just follow that steps, and once it's done. And I think it does not even have a lot of pages, so it will be easier for you as well.
Okay, so why don't I do that? I think let me copy all the correct, like, the reason I'm a little hesitant is that where are the master copies in the Google Sheet? I need to collect them and make sure that, I have the, like, why don't I do that? So let me delete the Butter Thief tomorrow after this session, and I will let you update the Google Sheet, right? And I'll pre-populate, and let me use that Butter Thief to delete and then run this process. So that means I have to do all the cleanup and I have to set up it locally. It'll take few minutes. I don't want to hold you up while I do that. But today I want to show the process, and then I will delete the Butter Thief on the English side, and then I will run the step 1, and then I will leave it up to you so that you can go back and you can. In some cases, last time also we while testing we found, right, 9 books do not even have table of contents, and we had to create brand new table of contents which is not there in the book. So those kind of cases also might come up.
Yeah, that sounds good, Prabhuji. And for example, like even I was just reading The Journey of Soul, but then the one that we copied, also, like, there are like only sections are there, but in that sections there are many chapters which they haven't listed in the table of contents.
Correct.
For the original, and it's so hard to go back because it's kind of like, the chapters are so many and you have to remember the page numbers, but also it would be better if the chapters are there. Like there are so many books that have like the problem, maybe.
So, like, I think instead of doing the Butter Thief, why don't we do those kind of books? So I think that is a value add for all of us. The existing table of contents in the book is not good enough. Like, if you can identify 1 or 2 books where we have a lot of opportunities to update the table of contents. So what I can do is that way I can load up with what is currently there, and then you can start making additions the way it needs to be, right? What are the other levels to be added, right? What is currently missing and what it needs to be. I think that will give us a good exercise for all of us to work on.
Yeah, I think I'll do Journey of Soul because that has a lot of things that the chapters are not there. Only the whatever table of contents are there originally are listed, but then there are so many chapters that it's hard to find for the normal reader. Like for me, for example, I cannot see the chapters. This one, The Journey of Soul. Yeah.
Okay. So part 1. So it has multiple. It has level 3 up to. So you already checked out these multiple levels, right? In spite of that, you are still finding some gaps where.
No, I think I missed this part. So everything is there then.
It should be.
Yeah.
Like usually it should be.
Yeah. I think these chapters are there. The third one or
like if you want to go to this label.
Yes.
So it should, like, you just need to come and expand these ones.
Yes. I did expand that first one, but then I think I missed the other parts. Yes.
I see. Okay. But having said that, what you mentioned is still a case. In some table of contents, when I was looking, it didn't make sense to me. Oh, they should have done it like this, not like this, right? Some of these are old books and they are done in 2090s, right? They're all, but if you find a book like that, if there is any opportunity for us to try it out, happy to do so. Just let me know the name and I will clean up and, I will set up. It takes a little bit of time for me to run and set it up. Okay, so like before we get there, why don't we close out the loading of so now, since we have all the things, all we have to do is now I have to run the part 2. That is the final thing that's going to update the databases. So it's reading the Google Sheet. Now it is updating. It's done. Okay, now let's go and see how it is looking. You also can check on the website if you're able to see the Tamil books now. So there you go, 8 books. See, all the 8 books came up. And let's see if Guruji's name came up, like, so now Kisharaji entered, right? There you go. Commented rather, it came up. It wasn't there earlier, it was empty. So I think that came up. The summary came up. And let's see that, is it the correct PDF? Sometimes, the PDF is not the right one for downloading. What is this book? This is Fearless Prince. Yes, Fearless Prince. And Fearless Prince, right? So yeah, table of contents, even though I cannot read it, but just comparing these things. Umadevi, will you be able to compare that, or when I click, is the correct section appear?
Yes, yeah. Yes, correct.
This I can tell because there's a number 3, number 6, 8. I think it seems good. And the go-to option, go to page 34. Yeah, it went to 34. And is it bookmarking correctly? Bookmarks. Yep, bookmark is. And if I open, it's going back to the same page. Okay, I think these are all working good. And the reader view, I think seems good. These are all, I think seems okay. But this is where we still need to do the manual checking of the table of content because this is where errors happen. But I'm just doing a cursory check of all the 8 books they have been loaded or not. I think, see, oh, here is the level 2. See, this is where. So some cases this confusing because, so this level 1 and level 2, they are on the same page. And sometimes people are thinking that I'm thinking it's not going anywhere because those 2 are all of the same area in the same page. That's why it doesn't go to anywhere. Sometimes it's confusing, but, I'm hoping that if there are multiple things. Yeah, so I think they're all the same single level. It seems like it is going to the proper places. So like in a nutshell, this is one, right? So I absolutely hear you that, you need to practice more in order to get there. But I'm hoping that today, at least, I think you got a, peek into like what really goes behind, when we start talking about the book loading, right? So I think where it is getting harder for me is on the content side. I'm not an expert in these books, right? So what is the correct leveling, is the correct transliteration and, correct table of contents. I think more and more, I think you can help us. I think that will be a tremendous for us. And we can really expedite a book loading process.
Do we have any books that we can practice on, like any books you want us to load so that we can start doing that? Or
so that is what I'm asking. So like, so like, is there any preference? Like, should I do the same book? It doesn't matter. Any book we can load.
So is the data sheet is common for all the 3, English book, Tamil book, and
everything is same. So what I will do is, if you're gonna practice something, I will go ahead and I need to delete all the records here because we don't want to see, even if you keep it, it doesn't work. It will ignore them. But for you to work cleanly, I'll just delete all of them. So right now these are all already loaded and we don't need them. I'll just do clear. Page map usually is the biggest table because it loads every page as a record. And table of contents also I'm deleting. So next time when you load, you don't see any of these things. It's clean. Probably I can even add a step to my part 2 software. If the loading successful, it can come and delete all these records. So. Okay, now it's clean. So next time when I load a book, you would see only that particular book. Okay, so then like if you have a name, let me know, or else I'll make a, I'll pick a book for you to practice. I'll pick an English book. And then I will run the part 1 and I will let you know via the our WhatsApp channel. And then you can try it out. And we can try a few things. Even if you don't get it right or it goes wrong, no worries. We can delete and restart. And what I'll do is, just to be safe, I'll back up the current configuration of the table of contents and everything, so that even if you need to restore back to that version, we can easily go back. Yep, that's it.
Can you upload the English book and Tamil book at a time? Or
yeah, so you can do that. See, all you have to do is in the low book type, right? Here you write, so if you do one Tamil, one Ray, so you will define in the book type, so the book 1 is English, right? And book 2 is Tamil, right? Whatever, right? So you can, the software is same. It loads up. You want to put a race, a magazine here, and that's how you're going to add different books here by calling the appropriate book types. And that's what we are using this column for. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and I will